You know, some stories, they're just timeless. They carry a message that's so crucial you almost need to hear it every single day. And today, we're going to dive into one of those stories, a really powerful parable about the hidden danger of overthinking.
So, let's just start with a question right out of the gate. I want you to really think about this for a second. What if that really complex, frustrating problem you're trying so hard to solve, what if it isn't even real? This idea right here is the absolute heart of the story we're about to get into.
All right, let's set the scene for our parable. In this first part, we're going to meet our main character, the Master, and learn all about the challenge he's about to face. Our story kicks off with this legendary guy, a man who was an absolute artist at what he did.
And when I say he was good, I mean he was a phenomenon. His skill was almost like magic. Seriously, it didn't matter what it was. A simple lock on a house, a jail cell, even one of those super complicated high-security bank vaults. Nothing could stop him. People were just in awe.
Well, you know how it is. When you have a reputation like that, it's going to attract some attention. So this huge public event was put together to see if he was really as good as they said. We're talking big crowds, cameras, everybody wanted to see if they could finally stump the Master.
And man, what a challenge it was. The plan was to seal him inside this chamber, then lower the whole thing into a swimming pool. His only ticket out, he had to pick the lock from the inside before he ran out of air. And of course, he accepted. He was totally confident, absolutely sure his skills were more than enough to get him through. The stakes could not have been higher. This was a true all-or-nothing situation. He either succeeds in front of the whole world and becomes an even bigger legend, or he fails, publicly, by ringing that emergency bell. There was just no in between. Okay, so now we're getting to the heart of it. The chamber door closes, it's getting lowered into the water, and the clock officially starts ticking. The pressure is on.
He starts out calm, just like he's done 1,000 times before. Pulls out a little wire and gets to work. But this time is different. The seconds feel like an eternity as his oxygen starts to run low. That cool confidence, it just melts away. First, it turns into confusion, and then, boom, full-blown panic. He's frantically trying every single technique he knows, every trick in the book, but the lock just won't budge. Finally, completely exhausted and out of air, he's got no choice. He has to admit defeat.
And just like that, we're at the climax of the story. He's surrendered. The challenge is over. Or is it? This, right here, is where everything changes, where we get the shocking twist.
With the very last of his strength, he hits that bell. He can feel the chamber slowly starting to rise. And he's just filled with this sense of shame, right? He can't even look up at the crowd he knows is watching him fail.
So as the chamber breaks the surface of the water, he's totally drained. Physically, mentally, emotionally, just done. And he slumps against the door, completely defeated.
And in that moment, the door just swings wide open. It was never locked to begin with. The entire problem, the thing he fought against so desperately, it was all just an illusion. So what's the lesson here? I mean, this brings us to something that's so relevant today, our modern cult of busyness. This story forces you to ask a really simple question. Why didn't he just try the handle? Why didn't he check if the door was even locked? This little story is a perfect illustration of a trap so many of us fall into.
And the answer is painfully simple, isn't it? He was so caught up in the act of problem solving, so focused on his fancy techniques, on his reputation, on impressing everyone watching, that he never stopped to question the problem itself. He just assumed there was a lock to be picked.
And this connects directly to our lives today. On one side, you have this myth of busyness. We wear it like a badge of honor, right? Constant action feels productive, but just like our locksmith, it can make you totally blind. But on the other side, you have the power of the pause, and that's where the magic is. Pausing allows you to step back, to question the problem, and to create the space for those real game-changing breakthroughs.
It's such a counterintuitive idea, but it is so powerful. Our whole society screams at us to always be doing something, always be moving forward. But this story shows us that sometimes the most effective thing you can do is to just stop and think.
And hey, this isn't just some nice philosophical thought. It has real practical benefits. Taking a moment to do nothing lets you actually check if the problem is even real in the first place. It gives your brain the breathing room it needs for those truly innovative ideas to show up. It's really no surprise that so many incredible startups are founded by young people who just have more free time to question the way things have always been done.
Okay, so this brings us to the final and honestly the most important part of all of this. How do we apply it? How can we find the unlocked doors in our own lives? It's time to turn this lesson back on ourselves.
I absolutely love this quote from the source material. It's such a brilliant paradox. The people who do nothing are the ones who do amazing things. Now, this isn't about being lazy, not at all. It's about being strategic, being thoughtful, and having the courage to pause before you leap into action.
And that leaves us with one last massive question to think about. How do we find these unlocked doors? Well, it all starts by building in that pause. Before you dive headfirst into some complicated task, just ask yourself, wait a second, is this problem really what I think it is? Is there a super simple assumption I haven't tested yet? Like just trying the handle. So think about it. In your job, in your relationships, in your life, what complex locks are you furiously trying to pick without ever stopping to check if the door might already be unlocked?